I pick up trash. You know what I was doing in Boise? Which I'm not in Boise anymore, for all those that like to gang stalk my channel and you thought I was homeless the whole time. Well, I'm not, and I never was. I'm trying to make some points here. You don't rely on the president, whichever side he leans, whoever he is, whether he's a plant, whether he's not a plant. You don't rely on your mayor. You don't rely on Christians and police officers to solve these issues, and politicians. You know what you do to solve these issues? You get off your ass and you fucking look around the world around you. You know what, this bag, I actually filled up this whole trash can. I filled up that trash bag. I filled up a good portion of that dumpster just walking down the street today in a city that I love. As I'm just making my rounds across America at the moment. I won't say where my final destination is, but I'll say where I'm at right now. Because in truth, nobody knows their final destination. I'm in Pensacola, Florida, a city that I love and hold dear. Now, mind you, many years ago when I first came here, I was still an addict. I was. But you know what I never did? I never threw shit on the ground. This is the dumbass bag. This little white bag, it's the dumbass baggie. Little baggies here, little baggies there, little cigarillos here, Budweiser, little beer bottles. You know how many, what the percentage of homeless people that do that is? Because I know we're all brainwashed. I'm not mad at nobody. If you think it's most of them or half of them, it's actually less than half. More than half are addicts of some kind, but less than half. Like somewhere between 15 and 25% will throw it on the ground. Now this looked like somebody just dropped it. Maybe they had a witness, maybe they didn't, but they just left it there. Which is kind of odd for that. You just see a full stimmy like that. Usually these people will grab that, hit it with a torch, fix it up, all nice like. Now look, I've told you guys, I don't judge people for their vices. I judge people when they make their problem somebody else's problem. You know, I see kids walking down these streets. It's one of the greatest places to move if you want to start a family. But for how long? For how long? And everybody wants to get mad at the middlemen. Everybody wants to get mad at the middlemen who get in between this type of shit for locking you up, instead of going to your lawmakers and changing maybe the punishments for the addiction itself. Because then people would, you look, if the punishment wasn't so bad, they probably would have picked that up and threw it away. Maybe, just maybe. But you know what needs to be punishable more than the crime itself? Throwing this shit on the ground. Throwing that shit on the ground should be punishable by twice what the punishments are today. Because it ain't working. Some of you got kids. What if your son walked by and saw that? And he's like 13, 14, 15 years old and he got too curious. Whose fault is it really? It's not the parents' fault always. Not always. Families are being split up. Families are being destroyed in the court system. Kids are being taught to rebel and that they can't get spankings no more. They can't even get a fucking spanking, dude. What do you think they're going to see when they feel all grown at 13 years old and they see that? And this is at a Dollar General, so you can't really say, oh, well, the people that work at Dollar General should be picking it up. You know how long it took me to pick up this damn trash? With no profit, with no recognition. I got nothing out of it. It took me about 3.5 hours to pick up not even all the trash. If you look up by that dumpster, there's more trash. And it ain't the employees. That's where these people are sleeping. Okay? Because it's hidden off into the shadows at night. Now, like I said, I don't judge the addiction part. I judge the fact that these people think, just throw it on the ground. No big deal. It is not hard to figure out how to stop it. If I can walk up in a parking lot, knowing that eventually I'm going to find some shit. I mean, I literally set this bag to the side as the dumb shit bag. And I let the employees know what I'm doing out here. And this is my thing, is that if you're on the street and you're homeless, why would you sit there and shit on somebody who don't make enough money to barely get by? I mean, these people that work here at these dollar stores, they're like one paycheck away, if that, from becoming homeless too. What do you think their first impression of homelessness is? That's why the suicide rate's so high, by the way. It may not be the main reason, but a lot of people are terrified to become homeless when some hard times happen. They ain't willing to see how strong they can be, because when they look down, they see that. And they think, I can't be around people like that. Oh my goodness, I can't be homeless. And they panic, and then they kill themselves out of pure panic. Don't you think that's killing people? Not just the drug itself, but don't you think that with the trash everywhere, I mean, I'm sure it's a motivator to work hard, real hard to not end up a idiot like that. But at the same time, it's not a motivator to pick up the trash, because you ain't getting paid for that. These people are not getting paid enough to do that. And I know, because I tear my body up, and I'm crippled, guys. I've been crippled ever since that damn hit and run where I got hit by that damn car on that bike. And I force myself every day, since COVID destroyed my company, and I can't sit there and go to the gym every day and eat all the damn food and proteins I like. I stay active regardless, and it hurts. I would like to self-medicate, I really would. And y'all know me, sometimes I go out and smoke a blunt here and there. And I wouldn't be saying that publicly if I had it on me, which I don't have no weed on me, but this ain't stoners doing this. Look, that's an old friend of mine right there, right? I used to be that person that would smoke that shit. But here's the deal. And I started looking at the people who did it for 20 years. They ain't got no teeth, no skills, no humanity. And just like people who don't do it, but more heightened, they have no sense of the man's life next to them, other than, what can I get out of the next guy next to me? What can I get out of the next guy? That's what these people will think over time. You might think, well, I'm a good person. I can struggle through that type of shit and still come out the same. No, you won't. One reason why I have bipolar so bad is because I used to be that. Even when I'm justifiably angry, sometimes I take it too far with my rage. I take it too far with my rage sometimes. And I have to sit there and think about it. Why did I take my rage so far in certain instances? It's because I lost a sliver of my humanity. Luckily, my IQ is, 147, right? I wonder what it would have been if I didn't do all that shit, right? But one thing, like I said, that I can at least hold my head up proudly. I never, ever, even if I dropped something in life, which has happened, I never in my entire life would have ever made my problems somebody else's problems. It took many years of me being knees deep in that type of shit before my family even knew about it. And by then, I lost enough humanity to not even care if they knew. That's why they knew about it. But at first I cared. That's how it starts. You care a little bit about this and that at the beginning, and then you slowly don't give a fuck no more. And people are already becoming that, that's the mindset people get without this stuff in this day and age. Now, I'm showing you this shit not because I'm better. It's actually because of my past, why I knew how to find it. Because honestly, I was like, damn, I'm not in Boise no more, but there's a lot of damn trash all over the fucking ground everywhere. I mean, it looked like Hurricane Katrina just took a shit in this parking lot. And I said, I bet you money to myself. I made a bet with myself. I ain't got a lot of money. But I said, Mike, I bet you money if I just walk around and I go in there, I asked him, hey, can I get some gloves and some trash bags? Yeah, I'm going to pick up y'all's parking lot. Because these people out there are shitting on you and telling you to go fuck yourself when you're one paycheck from being in their position. So I don't get why people are shitting on you guys and you don't make enough to pick up this trash. It's going to take me many hours. Just give me some gloves, give me some trash bags. And I came out here. And I sat there and I said, I bet, and I made a bet with myself. I said, I bet you money, Mike, that you'll find some shit out here to make a live stream about to drive the point home. Even while I was in Boise, I'd see broken pieces, like crumbs of pieces like that. But I've never seen a whole fucking piece just sitting there blatantly out in the open, out in the parking lot like that. Is COVID really like the nails in the coffin to our humanity? I know crime is jumping by 30%. I'm sure suicide is about the same as far as the spike goes. The majority of the homeless is men. The majority of the mentally insane is men. The majority of the addicts is men. The majority of the suicides is men. And yet some people are questioning my intent. They say, Mike, get back to men's rights issues. This is a men's rights issue. This is. Who else does it affect? For the majority. I ain't worried that a little girl is going to walk past that, pick it up. I'm not worried that, I mean, it could happen. We all know their downfalls. We know what our downfall is. Being told that we're indestructible, we're bulletproof. Hey, let's listen to this and that song. Let's follow this and that celebrity. Let's follow their path. Meanwhile, you got Lil Peep dying out there. All these other rappers, fucking not just rappers, actors, actresses, all these different people. We went from John Wayne to Justin fucking Bieber and Xanax and Molly and cocaine and fucking that. That's a meth pipe. This country destroyed its family structure. Shit on masculinity, which without masculinity, you don't have brotherhood, and without brotherhood, you have no revolutions. And the revolutions you see that kind of spur up here and there, they're only allowed to spew out propaganda that they're given. They're only allowed to debate topics that were provided to them because the talking points were already laid out. They're not allowed to seriously make change. And these homeless shelters nationwide, if they could solve homelessness, which is the leading cause to addiction and mental illness, or at least it's connected, if they could solve it, they would not have jobs. Okay? And what an embarrassment to this modern, free society, if that's even what it is anymore, if it was ever that. What an embarrassment that we left these issues to police officers, the government, which we know the government probably caused this shit, but hey, I'm just saying. We left it to police officers and Christians, the two groups that are the most popular to attack. Sometimes it's justified, sometimes it's not justified. I'm not here to split hairs, but think about it. Set your political opinions to the side for 5 minutes. We left all of this to police officers and Christians, and guess what? COVID took the money away from the Christians. So now you're going to leave this to police officers who get called pigs. But you know who I think the real pigs are? You know who the real snitches are? The real pigs? It's the ones throwing it on the ground. Because you snitching on yourself. Because, hey, you left it there all day long. This is the evening time. That could have been there for 2 days, for all I know. Same thing with some of these beer cans. And you know, this is what gets me. Where's it at? You know, and I like to smoke weed, and like I said, I wouldn't even be saying that if I had it on me, because I don't. Somewhere in here it is. Look, I don't even have to open it. I wonder what's in that. Tobacco. You know what that tells anybody that has common sense? Oh shit, somebody out here smoking a blunt, and they throw the tobacco back in the thing, and they said, and they threw it on the ground. Don't that make you a snitch on yourself? Now, that's not the worst thing in the world, smoking weed, but you still littering, and you're making everybody else for medicinal look stupid. You're making everybody look trashy, and you're making the whole homeless community look like shit when they're already targeted. They're already a targeted community. They're already targeted, 100%. Some of them ask for it, but most of them don't. Most of them got addiction problems, but they're just trying to get through their problems. And some of them, because they have mental illness, that's why they're addicts. They were given Ritalin, Risperdal, Concerta, and all this other dumb shit, Depakote for, what, since the 90s at least. Oh, you got too much energy. Oh, you can't focus on our propaganda. Here at this, elementary school, let's dope the motherfucker up. And then whenever he has suicidal thoughts and other things, they escape reality. They escape reality and they fucking end up on that. And they say, lock him up. Give him a felony. Give him 20 years. That'll fix it. Has it fixed it yet? Let me know. Has it fixed it? I think these sting operations are a waste. You want to know why? Because they need to sit out in places like this and protect the businesses and their children who go to these businesses from seeing this shit all over the ground. I think littering paraphernalia should be more illegal than the paraphernalia itself. And also, shame on society to leave it to mostly Christian organizations, mostly, to solve this idea that without faith, you're not going to get clean. Because I'm telling you right now, most people on the streets, most of them are not going to hear you. You could look like, you could be Jesus right now and stand in front of some of these people, and they'll just laugh at you and giggle and say, what is this, Halloween? You could actually be Jesus standing in front of some of these homeless people, and they're going to sit there and laugh at you and still throw shit on the ground and still do what they're doing. A lot of what we preach in MGTOW, it was enough for a lot of people to get off of some hard drugs. And that has been my experience. And that's what's kept me sober. I was sober before that. I've slipped a couple times. I ain't gonna say I've been perfect the whole time. There's been a few times where I slipped. And I roasted the fuck out myself for it. What tickled me the most is when people were sitting there saying, Mike, the meth head, man. What was funny is it had been years before I even touched the stuff. And during that time, want to know why it didn't trigger me? Because I was still sober. And I'm sober today. Right now. Sober as fuck. So what if I slipped twice since then? Even alcoholics will tell you that is difficult. It's a day-to-day process. If you've ever been to AA, which is a religious leaning thing, which look, if it works for you, it works for you, but you got to understand is that is not solving it for everybody. And I think it's a great thing. If religion or faith can help you get off of this type of shit, it's a good thing. But you're doing society a disservice and men who are struggling with that, the disservice, by saying, well, if you can't get through NA or AA or these other groups that are religious based, or these shelters that have these programs that are religious based, if you can't get through that, well then I guess you're just going to stay the same and then go back through the cycle again. It is up to society to say, hey, shame on us as a collective for leaving it to police and Christians to solve these issues. Because now you know what? Those hens are coming to roost. That's why there's trash all over the place, everywhere you look across the country. I know I'm not the only one seeing the spike in trash on the ground. You know what that means? A spike in mental illness, a spike in drug addiction. Why do you think people don't have any common sense when they debate us on common sense fucking topics? You want to know why? Because sense is no longer common. In fact, that means that statement, common sense, that's not even real anymore. That's not even a real statement anymore. It's not common. And you can look away as a society like we're all trained to do, or come up with things like, oh, well, it's their fault. It's men's fault for the way they are. It's their choice, right? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you have a piece of shit mother or father or whoever the case may be that raises you up in that. Sometimes you're born an addict. And what does society say? Oh man, I know you're going to struggle with that in your life, but hey, we got these cuffs waiting in the shadows. That's why whoever dropped that left it there. That's why somebody's kid could have seen that today or yesterday, however long it's been there, and that could change their whole world. I mean, you guys do realize that more so than pot and pills, that's in your schools right now, just so you know. Just so you know. That's in your schools right now. Even places like Broken Arrow have that infested everywhere. Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, next to Tulsa. They've got the same problem there. Boise's got the same problem there. In fact, that's the main product in Boise. Why do you think I was sitting there homeless? I'm trying to figure some shit out. Now, when I was really, really homeless, like for real homeless, I mean, that was always there. This stuff, it was always there. But it is completely 110% taken over every homeless community that I've even bumped shoulders with over the last few years. Completely taken it over. It's almost to the point where if you wanted weed, it's easier to get it in a dispensary, even if you live in a state where there are none. It's easier to get weed in the next state over than it is to get it in your own city, because that's the main product. This stuff over here, that's the main product. It used to be, try to keep kids off the pot. It's a gateway drug, right? That's what they say. Well, there's no more gateway. That's what they're doing. They're smoking the fucking dope. All your fucking kids that you guys hold dear, that might be going through some mental anguish at the moment, I encourage you to scratch your head a little bit and wonder, is that what's in their brain? Is that what's going on? Probably. If your kid is having anarchist thoughts or anti-American thoughts, but they don't smell like pot like they would have, 15, 20 years ago, if that was the case. They don't smell like pot. They don't smell like alcohol. They're up all hours of the night. Seem like they're going through a mental fucking breakdown every 5 minutes. Huh. I bet it's that. I bet you money that it's that. Now I'm gonna walk around and look. There was a lot of trash out here earlier. There's still little bits here and there. I ain't gonna wipe society's ass completely. Hell, I'm running out of toilet paper. It's Corona season. I'm gonna show you guys something. I'm gonna put my little mask on when I walk by you people. I'm gonna show you guys what the other side of the building looks like. The side that I just decided to not fucking finish, because you know what? It's not up to me. Fucking sit there and look. I done picked up the trash. Motherfuckers out here already throwing shit down. Yep. They don't give a fuck if these people in here don't make enough money to wipe their ass all day. They don't give a fuck about that. Let me show you what the other side of the fucking building look like. And it is not the employees' fault. It's not their job to sit here and wipe y'all's asses out there. Huh. Well, I wonder who is out here drinking Capri Suns on a plate. Whatever the fuck that is. Huh. I wonder who it is. And like I said, I've been homeless. And it pissed me off whenever I was really homeless, how 15 to 25% of motherfuckers would be trashing the place, just like this. And then people would drive by and look at me, and look at the trash, and then look at me, and just shake their head. And go, in their mind they're going, oh, look at that fucking hobo out there trashing up everything, right? When it's literally 15 to 25, maybe some places 35, 40%, but it ain't half. But it will be soon when there's no incentive to give a fuck. I mean, look at all this trash everywhere. Part of me understands the mindset. A huge part of me understands it. They're saying, society, if you don't care about me, if you're going to keep punishing me for my problems, I'm going to punish society. That's what they're doing. It's a retaliation. It's a protest, if you will, from people who have addiction and mental illness. Because it needs to not be criminalized, except for when you're throwing it on the damn ground. But hey, before we get to that point, let's look at the root cause. Why don't we just take a step, everybody set their little agendas to the side, and wonder what is the root cause for somebody with addiction or mental illness to throw shit on the ground because they're homeless, right? Well, society is going to say, here's a sandwich, pat themselves on the back, and say, all right, I did my part to solve it today. Dude, you could be absolutely insane on a 2-week binge on that dumb shit right there, and you still have more common sense to go, well, that's not going to solve my homeless issue or my addiction or my mental illness just because somebody gave you a sandwich. Or if they lock you up, that's not going to solve it. If they lock you up, that's not going to solve it. Because they've been trying that for what, 50 years? They've been ruining people's lives for 50 years. So think about it. What?
Is there a lighter?
I'm kind of on a live stream because of that.
Damn, can I use your amber?
Yeah, but just give me a second.
Well, I'm done.
Now, I don't judge people with mental illness or addiction.
I don't.
But to see kids walking past that shit, look.
I got something for you.
Look, if you've seen a kid.
If you've ever seen these safeties going off, because I'm going to literally show you something. You better get a question.
So yeah, that's case in point. But you see that right there? Kids walk past that shit, and people out here don't care. You want to know why? Because the system has said, "Oh, you got these issues. Let's lock you up," and that doesn't solve it. When has it ever solved it to give somebody a felony? Is that going to give them any type of motivation when they get out? No. That's just going to say, well, I can't do shit, for myself. I can't do shit for myself. So then you got to get a plug again, and the same cycle going to continue. Same shit. Just like the people that walk up to me, and I'm not a dummy. I'm like, they going through it. I understand. They going through that same shit. Society said, I don't care. Here's a felony, or accept the struggle of us not caring. That's society as a whole. And I'm trying to be nice, and I'm putting myself in harm's way because this ain't the safest street out here. And if you guys heard that lady, she threatened me for no reason, and I'm kind of on everybody's side that's on the on the street. I'm on their side. I'm trying to solve this where they don't get slammed in the slammer, but also I'm not here to babysit nobody's ass and let them get away with throwing the shit on the ground. So we got to come up with a solution here. I'm open ears. Look, I'm gonna smoke part of a cigarette here. I would like you guys to tell me what your thoughts on this issue is, and I'll go over the comments. I've been slacking the last few live streams where I don't engage enough, and I need to engage more with you guys because you guys have voices too. Otherwise, you wouldn't be typing. You have something to say, and I'm going to go through as many as I can. But correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think locking people up is solving it, but I also don't really like the idea that we've left it to just Christians and police officers to solve these issues, or politicians even. What's the missing link in all that? Society as a whole. And you want to know why? Why we've left it to all these other people? Because the solutions will not be easy. The solutions will be hard. And if we fail without pinning it on somebody else, then we have to hold the whole failure as a society. And nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to try something that they might fail at when it's so important. We've already lost the family structure, guys. What more do we need to lose as a society? And the main reason why people look away is because it's mostly a men's issue. Mostly. Addiction doesn't know gender, but I can tell you this, it's mostly men. That's why it's easy to look away when they give somebody 20 years over some stupid shit that they bought. Society looks away from it. You do realize that during this time of year and the past few months, this is when people OD because they're self-medicating a lot of times when they're homeless, and they do a little too much because it's a little too cold that night. And especially with COVID, humanity is dying. It is rusting to complete shit. I don't see people helping each other out during hard times. Like in our past, when hard times would come, everybody's like, oh, this is when you see the real American spirit, blah, blah, blah. You know, hurricanes and all that. Because this wasn't a one weekend event. This is something that we're still dealing with. No matter what your beliefs are and which way it's going, or conspiracy or not conspiracy, I don't care about that. Notice all of your agendas and opinions to the side, that humanity itself is losing. Like 30%. Suicide is jumping up too. Murder is jumping up everywhere. Homelessness is spiking as well. What do you think that's going to do? Isn't that the cycle of death right there? Isn't all of that related? You can't solve it with a gun. You can't solve it with a handcuff. You can't solve it that way. I've been trying to say this, and not just me. Everybody has been trying to say this for decades. You can't solve it by locking people up. That's not going to solve it. You know what solves it? When people start giving a fuck about men who are struggling, and quit saying, oh, he knew what he was getting into. Oh, he's a man. It's his fault. That shit does not work. And that excuse, I can wipe my ass with that excuse. Because me climbing up out of the holes that I've dug myself in life, I can tell you right now, it has made me strong to do most of it on my own. But I didn't do all of it on my own as far as get myself out of those holes. I literally relied on good fucking people to influence me. And if they didn't exist, I might not exist. I'd probably be dead by now. There had been moments where I snapped and all I wanted to do was evil. I could have just as easily been some of these cats you see on TV that snap. It could have happened to me many fucking times, more than I have fingers and toes, where I literally was on the verge of homicidal, suicidal, dumb shit that I look back at now and I go, damn, Mike, it wasn't that serious. But I literally know what it's like to get to that point where you almost fucking just tip over the boat. And it really boils down to, there just wasn't enough people who gave a fuck about my problems. There wasn't enough people that gave a fuck about my situation. And they always said it was my fault when it wasn't. Sure, take some, responsibility for some of the things that you do. And take responsibility for the situations placed upon you. Of course, do that. That's the greatest thing to do. But the problem is human nature will tell you to look outward and not inward. And so you need somebody to be that compass, especially in a world where our fathers are pushed out of homes. You need a compass in life to say, hey, this is how you need to take the situation. This is how you need to look at that situation. But we ain't got it like that no more. Just like I said, my own father abused me as a kid. Abused the fuck out of me. And so, like, fuck, what compass did I have? I got lucky that I ain't sitting there in a hole somewhere. I got lucky that here and there I had some good mentors in life. MGTOW was a good component of that. But I had mentors before that. That's why I was able to accept the philosophy. There was times where I went over the edge a little bit with my red pill rage. But the thing is, guys, is even though I'm still going to walk that same path, that MGTOW path, I'm looking onward. I'm not moving out of MGTOW. I'm not leaving MGTOW, but I am moving onward. And what I mean is, I'm done saying I can't fix something. I don't want to believe my whole life that I knew the solutions and I didn't try to actually make them play out. Because I've known the solutions the whole time. But the problem is, to most people, the solution is to make somebody else fix it. Make it somebody else's problem. Or make the same excuses that society always gives us to make. So, at the end of the day, guys, maybe in this philosophy, it's not our problem to fix things. But it's going to be our problem if we don't. You can look at it that way. I mean, we can't all live off grid. I can do it, but I don't know about everybody. So I'm going to smoke this cigarette, and I want to hear what you guys think in the chat. Let me know what you think. I'm gonna get away from some noise over here and just talk to me, guys, because this is why I've taken such a long break. I was at a battle with myself whether I should, I wouldn't say drop the label, because I ain't gonna do that. Just like I needed a compass, some of you guys are way younger than me and you need a compass in life. So, you know, I'll be there for you. But I'm trying to like help men rise out of the mud without judgment. Just because the system judges everybody that's in the mud, don't mean that I'm gonna do it. I ain't gonna judge nobody, because you know what? My shit stink just like everybody else. So I ain't perfect. I struggle with things all the time. So let me know what the solutions are, guys. If you already typed something, my ears are open now. I'm looking at the chat now. Nice one. That's a nice little roast you guys got going on in the chat. I got my heavy hitters out there just slaying it away. Somebody said, did you delete most of your videos? I haven't deleted one video. Look, man, this time at a political season, you know, you guys know I'm neutral on a lot of things, but I'm also not a dumbass. I know who our enemies are. So I fucking set everything to private. Like I told most people that's what I was gonna do, is set everything to private, because it's my way of saying you ain't getting me. After all, look, directions will be okay. Look, the direction will be pointed elsewhere when you do that. You don't do it all the time or normally for this long, but it is smart to do it. I've seen a lot of people lose channels, and I've had to come up with really, really hard fought solutions so I don't lose my channel. They've worked. All my solutions have worked. My channel's still here. So I know it's rough when you want to go watch an old video that you liked, but don't think that I've changed directions, because if I did, those videos would not exist. They wouldn't be set to private. They would be gone. If I regretted anything I did or felt like I need to take a new direction, I would probably delete those videos, but that's not necessarily what I'm doing. I'm adding to the direction in which I was already headed, and I'm just being transparent about it, because it just kind of bothers me whenever I hear people say, and it's your right to do or not do anything about anything, honestly, but it's kind of frustrating to hear guys say something like, well, it's not our duty to fix things no more. And it's not. That's why volunteers are called volunteers. So I'm going to challenge some of you to say, hey, it's not my duty to fix it, and you can quit anytime you want. But maybe challenge yourself and say, I'm going to volunteer in one way or another to kind of like help somebody in the mud. You see somebody and you're driving around and you see somebody that might need a ride, fucking help them that day. Say, hey, you know, now you better be trained, because I'm military trained, so I mean I can do stuff like that. But you know, some of you might be a little too soft to be doing shit like that, because it could go south for you. You gotta know the risk. But where's your heart at? You know, because whenever I was out there in the mud, when I needed rides, I mean, literally, I could almost say 100% of the time when I needed a ride, there was nobody there to give me a ride. I had more help during my life as a MGTOW man than I had prior. And I had some, like I said, some influences before it, but they were never long lasting. I never had enough positive guidance. That's why I always did what I wanted to do, and I didn't give a fuck about nothing or nobody. But all that did was stall me from knowing my true potential in life. I didn't even know what potential was. That's just a big word to me that I heard people say when they want to feel good about themselves or act like they're better than me. I didn't even want to hear that word at one point. Like when somebody said, yo, you're wasting your potential, that was, to me, that was them saying that they were better than me, and I was never going to amount to their level of status. And so that shit used to piss me off. You're not going to know what your potential is really until you have mentors. So even though there's not leaders in this group here, this philosophy, it doesn't mean you can't be a leader in a real world and use that philosophy to help young men and some older than you maybe. It doesn't matter. Just help men, period. Because society said, like I said, they're going to leave it to the Christians and the police to solve all these issues. And where's that going to leave us? A sandwich and they're going to pat themselves on the back and then they're going to slam us away later when it don't work out? Come on, guys. These things can be solved in a more compassionate, caring fucking way. Because I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of society being lazy and shitting on the people at the bottom and then pointing at somebody else saying that's the reason why their life sucks. No, not because of somebody else. It's because of everybody as a collective don't give a fuck. Everybody don't give a fuck. Literally. I see it every day. So, this ain't about me. It's about all men. So at the end of the day, you got a choice to make, guys. You gonna sit back and watch the suffering, or are you gonna volunteer your time to help people? Seriously. If all you did all week long was offer somebody a ride, that might keep them from snapping or doing something stupid to themselves or somebody else that day. Or maybe they won't throw some trash on the ground and then somebody like me won't have to sit around all day purposely picking it up with no incentive except it's the right thing to do. Because if you continue to look away just like the rest of society, that's going to take over the United States of America. And now that you know it, now that the mirror has been held in front of you, especially this city, Pensacola, and if you're from this city and you've seen this mirror today, you cannot volunteer your time. You could leave it to the police and churches to solve this issue, and it won't solve nothing. It'll just, like I said, they're going to give them a sandwich, pat themselves on the back, and when that don't work out, they're going to throw them in the slammer, and it's going to repeat the cycle. But if you keep looking away, I don't know how long that's been on the ground there. I don't know how many kids done seen that. I don't even know if maybe a kid picked it up. It looks pretty clean. If you have had this mirror held in front of you today and you don't volunteer your time or you just don't give a shit, congratulations. Now you can pat yourself on the back, not because you gave a sandwich away or anything like that, because you didn't, but because that's the reason why that was found today on the ground. It's because society don't give a fuck about men, mostly men, on the bottom. And the solutions are very, very inhumane. The solutions are very shitty. Because you give men a raw deal by saying, here's a felony, good luck when you get out. There are normal people, very, very normal people that are now homeless because of this new world that we live in. People that may have been clean for 20 years, and who knows? 2020 may have been that bad year where they just wasn't strong enough. And they need somebody. They need somebody to say, hey, I got you, man. I got you. It's not about race when police fuck with people. It's about status and gender. You low status male in Boise, you're probably white or Hispanic. Cops fuck with you over there like you don't matter. If you're low status male in Chicago, you're probably African American. Cops fuck with you, but you're probably a man in both cities being fucked with. The only difference is it's popular to talk about one and not the other when both are going through some dumb shit. I don't adhere to no political groups on that. I'm just going off of common sense as far as what I call common sense, which, like I said, that's not even a real word anymore because it's not common to have sense. That's why logic is broke in this country, because you need sense to make a dollar. But since everybody ain't got sense, everybody's broke. So their logic is broke. I want this to be the most viral live stream ever. Otherwise, I'll set everything back to public. But I'll never make another fucking video ever again. That's how much this matters to me, because I was steamrolling thinking about kids walking by that little thing right there. And now we got to dispose of it. And I don't want to hear anybody in the comments that I know. Now, if you're a troll, I don't give a fuck. You couldn't trigger me if you wanted. But if I know who you are and you sit there and throw the same generic bullshit out, then you're not red-pilled. This is Mike the MGTOW Man sign off, and as always, never give in, never surrender. MGTOW for life.